When my boss looked me dead in the eye and said, "I need you to pretend to be my husband for 1 year," I forgot how to breathe. Her office was all glass and sharp angles on the 36th floor, with the whole Denver skyline spread out behind her like she owned it. Maybe she did. Her last name was Sterling, and the Sterlings owned the company. I swallowed hard, trying to decide if this was a joke, a test, or a trap. Then I asked the first thing that came to my mind, because panic makes you say stupid, honest things. "Do we have to sleep in the same bed?" Luna Sterling did not smile. She did not blink. She just leaned back in her chair like she was waiting for me to stop being difficult. "That depends," she said, "on how convincing you want to be." A week earlier, my life was already falling apart. I'm Adam Bennett, 28, born and raised in a dusty Texas town outside Austin. 5 years ago, I moved to Denver with big hopes and a small savings account. I told myself I would climb fast. I told myself I would be somebody. Instead, I became a junior copywriter at Sterling Marketing Solutions, writing catchy lines for products I could not afford, sitting in a gray cubicle under buzzing lights. My mornings all looked the same: cheap coffee from the lobby machine, crowded light rail, earbuds in my ears, even when there was no music, just so no one talked to me. At work, I rewrote the same ads with different words, like swapping hats on the same tired man. I wore the same faded button-ups, the same worn shoes, and the same look on my face that said I was trying not to drown. Back home in my one-bedroom apartment in Capitol Hill, the sink always had a dish or two. The air always smelled like takeout burritos, and the silence always felt heavy. I lived alone, not because I loved being alone, but because I had no energy left to build anything new. The worst part was the money. My dad was a mechanic who worked until his body gave out. Last year, he got diagnosed with lung cancer, and the bills came like a flood. We drained everything: savings, loans, credit cards. I sent what I could, took on extra work, and told my mom it would be okay. Then my dad died anyway. The grief hit hard, but the bills hit harder. It felt like the world sent me invoices, even after he was gone. My mom was 62, living alone in our old family home outside Austin. She survived on Social Security and the small jobs she could find cleaning houses. She never complained, which somehow made it worse. Every time she told me she was fine, I heard the fear hiding under her words. By the time spring rolled around, I was over $50,000 in debt. I started waking up at night doing math in my head. How long could I stretch a paycheck? Which bill could wait? What I could sell? My old camera? My guitar? Anything. Then 2 weeks ago, my landlord slipped an eviction notice under my door. 3 months behind, no more chances. I stared at that paper until the words blurred. I tried everything after that. Freelance gigs that paid almost nothing. Texts to old friends that got polite excuses. Calls I hated making. Promises I could not keep. That Monday morning, I was at my desk early, rubbing my temples, staring at a pile of overdue reminders in my inbox. Medical payments, credit cards, late rent. It all felt like one long sentence telling me I had failed. I was so tired I could barely think, and then a new email popped up. No subject line. Just one sentence. Meet me in my office. 9 a.m. sharp. It was from Luna Sterling. Everyone at Sterling Marketing had a story about her. Luna was 42, the vice president, and the kind of woman who could silence a room with one look. Her suits were always perfect. Her hair was a sharp bob that never moved. Her voice was calm, but it could cut. She never joked at happy hour. She never made small talk by the coffee machine. She was not mean for fun. She was mean because she had goals. And she had a brother. Derek Sterling had a reputation too, like a shadow that followed her. People whispered he wanted her job, that he thought the company should be his. I'd seen him a few times on the executive floor, always smiling like he knew something you did not. At 9 a.m., I knocked on Luna's door. She did not invite me in with words. She just pointed at a chair across from her desk while she stared at her screen. My palms were sweaty, and I hated that she could probably tell. Finally, she slid a thick folder toward me. "Open it." I opened it and felt my face go hot. It was my life, my debt, my dad's medical bills, my eviction notice, my bank statements, my credit report, with all the ugly red marks that screamed irresponsible, broken, desperate. I looked up, my voice shaky. "How did you get this?" Quote, "I had my assistant run a background check," she said, like she was talking about the weather, discreetly. I felt sick, angry, embarrassed, all at once. "Why?" I asked. "Why are you doing this?" Quote. She folded her hands. "Because you are in free fall, Adam. And because I need someone who has a reason to say yes." That was when she told me about the family trust, the rule written into the sterling money. The one that said she had to be married by the end of the year to keep control of the company. If she wasn't, control would shift to Derek. "I won't let that happen," she said, her eyes steady on mine. I stared at her, waiting for the punchline. It never came. "I need a husband temporarily," she said. 12 months, no more, no less. You will move in with me. You will attend events. You will smile. You will hold my hand. You will play the part." My mouth went dry. "And what do I get?" She pushed a second paper toward me, like she had already prepared for that question. "I clear all your debts," she said. "Every bill, every loan, rent, credit cards, everything. And at the end, you get a $100,000 bonus, enough to start over." My heart hammered so loud I could barely hear my own thoughts. This was insane. It was also the first time in months I could see a door that might lead out of the mess I was in. I looked down at the contract. Then I looked up at her. And before I could stop myself, I asked, "Do we have to sleep in the same bed?" Luna held my gaze, calm as ever. "That depends," she said, "on how badly you want to survive." Quote, I walked out of Luna Sterling's office with my head spinning so hard, the hallway felt like it was tilting. People around me kept typing, laughing, rushing to meetings like nothing had happened, while my whole life had just been shoved into a folder and turned into a deal. I sat at my desk and stared at my screen, but the words blurred. All I could think about was my mom's house in Texas, the eviction notice under my door, and the number 50,000 screaming in my brain. That night, I went back to my apartment and stared at my packed, messy life like it belonged to someone else. I tried to picture what saying no would look like. I pictured my landlord changing the locks. I pictured calling my mom and telling her I failed. I pictured the long drive back to Texas, with everything I owned stuffed in my trunk, and shame riding shotgun. By morning, my pride had lost the fight. I went back to Luna's office at 8:30, before anyone else could crowd the executive floor. She was already there, crisp suit, coffee untouched, eyes focused like she had not slept, but did not need to. "You decided," she said. I nodded and picked up the pen. My hand shook a little and I hated that she saw it. "I want one thing clear," I said. "I'm doing this to survive, not because I want your money." She studied me for a long second. Then she slid the contract closer. "Then survive," she said. I signed. The moment the ink hit the page, Luna moved like a machine that had been waiting for a green light. She handed me a key card and a sticky note with an address. "Pack what you need," she said. "A driver picks you up at 5. I didn't even know how to respond, so I just nodded and left. At 4:30, I shoved my life into 2 suitcases. Clothes, laptop, a few books, and the framed photo of my parents from before cancer turned everything gray. I stood in the middle of my apartment and realized I was not going to miss it. It had been a box where I worried and failed. Still, as I shut the door behind me, I felt like I was stepping off a cliff. The black SUV was waiting at the curb. The driver did not speak. He just opened the door like I belonged to someone important, and that felt wrong in a way that made my chest tight. Luna's place was a penthouse downtown, high enough that the city looked small beneath it. The elevator opened straight into the living room. The space was huge and clean and cold. Floor-to-ceiling windows, pale leather couches, art that looked expensive but meant nothing to me. It felt like a hotel that forgot to add comfort. Luna was already there, standing at the kitchen island with a tablet in her hands. "Your room is down the hall," she said. "Second door on the left." Quote. So we were not sharing a bed, Relief hit me, quick and sharp. Then she slid a thick binder across the counter like she was handing me homework. "Read it," she said. "Memorize it." I opened the binder and almost laughed, but nothing about Luna made laughing feel safe. It was a full guide to being her husband, our fake story, where we met, what we liked, what we never talked about, names of family members, dates of important events, even photos of the two of us that were clearly edited, my face pasted into places I had never been. At the back was a section called Public Behavior. Hold hands when entering a room. Stand close for photos. Hand on her back, not her waist. Kiss on the cheek only. I looked up. "This is insane." "It's precise," Luna said. "Insane gets people caught." I wanted to ask if she ever relaxed, ever laughed, ever trusted anyone, but her face was closed again. She was already typing on her tablet like I was just another project. Dinner was takeout she ordered without asking what I liked. Sushi, neatly arranged, expensive, barely touched. We ate at a long table meant for 8 people, 2 of us sitting at opposite ends like strangers. "You will keep your job," she said, "but you will attend events with me when I say. The press release goes out tomorrow at 8. I nearly choked. "Tomorrow?" "Yes." I stared at her. "People will ask questions." "They will ask fewer if you don't look nervous," she said. That night I lay in the guest room staring at the ceiling. The bed was too soft, the sheets too crisp. I missed the familiar discomfort of my old place in a way that surprised me, not because it was better, but because it was mine. Here, I felt like a guest in a life I did not understand. The next morning, the press release hit the company like a bomb. By 9, the whole office was buzzing. People kept glancing at me as if I had grown a second head. My phone lit up with texts from coworkers I barely spoke to. "Is this real? How did you land her? Are you okay?" I sat at my desk, trying to look normal while my stomach twisted. Around noon, Luna walked through the office, calm and flawless. She didn't look at anyone long enough to invite questions. She stopped at my desk and spoke quietly, just loud enough for me to hear. "Tonight, 7, you are coming with me." "To what?" I asked. "A company charity gala," she said. "Your first test." I wore the suit her assistant dropped off at my apartment desk like it was a simple errand. It fit perfectly, which made me feel even more out of place. When I got back to the penthouse, Luna was already dressed. Black gown, clean lines, diamonds at her throat. She looked powerful, but there was something tight in her shoulders, like she was bracing for impact. In the car, she finally turned to me. "Smile when you meet people," she said. "Let them think you adore me." "Do you want me to adore you?" I asked before I could stop myself. Her eyes flicked to mine. For a second, something unreadable passed across her face. "I want them to believe you do," she said. The gala was bright and loud and full of money. Photographers flashed lights the moment we stepped in. Luna looped her arm through mine like we had done it 1,000 times. Her touch was light, but it sent a strange jolt through me. I smiled. I nodded. I repeated our fake story. Aspen, charity event, fast romance, private wedding. I felt like I was lying with my whole body. Then I met Derek Sterling. He approached with a smooth grin and eyes that did not match it. He shook my hand hard, like he was testing if I would flinch. "So you're Adam," he said, "the man who stole my sister's heart." Luna's arm tightened around mine. "Adam is my husband," she said evenly. Derek's gaze swept over me like he was reading a label. "Funny," he said. "Luna doesn't do surprises." I forced a laugh. "Maybe I'm her first one." His smile sharpened. "Or maybe you're her most useful one." Before I could respond, he leaned closer, voice lower. "I hope you know what you're involved in," he said, "because I always find out what's real." He walked away, leaving a chill in his wake. Back in the car, Luna stared out the window, jaw clenched. Her calm mask had a crack in it now. "He suspects," she said. "I figured." I answered. She turned to me. "We need to be perfect." I swallowed. "We were pretty perfect." "No," she said. "Perfect is when there is no doubt. He is going to watch us now." When we got home, she didn't go to her room. She stood in the middle of the living room like she was making a hard decision. "Derek will not stop," she said. "If he thinks we're cold behind closed doors, he'll dig until he proves it." My heart thumped. "So what are you saying?" Her eyes met mine, steady and serious. "I'm saying," she said, "starting tonight we stop looking like strangers at home." She walked toward the hallway, then paused. "And Adam," she added, her voice lower, almost tense, "you ask if we have to sleep in the same bed. I told you it depends." I stood frozen. She held up her phone, showing a message on the screen. "Private investigator hired. He starts tonight." Luna looked at me like she hated needing this, like it cost her something. "Come to my room," she said. "We have to make this believable." And in that moment, I realized the hardest part of this deal was not pretending in public. It was what pretending might wake up in private. I followed Luna down the hall like I was walking into a storm I could not see. Her master bedroom was nothing like the guest room. It was bigger, darker, and somehow even more controlled. The bed was perfectly made. The curtains were heavy. The air smelled like clean linen and expensive perfume. But there were no personal touches, no family photos, no messy drawer left half open. It was a room designed to look untouched. Luna stood at the foot of the bed and faced me like we were about to negotiate a merger. "We need rules," she said. I let out a breath I did not know I was holding. "Thank you. Yes, rules." Her eyes narrowed slightly, like she hated that this made her uncomfortable. "No one touches anything without asking," she said. "No personal questions in front of staff. No jokes about the contract. And if someone is watching, we act like a normal couple." I nodded. Define normal. She hesitated, and that tiny pause told me more than any speech ever could. Luna Sterling did not know what normal love looked like. She knew power. She knew control. She knew how to win. But this was different, and it scared her. "We sleep in the same bed," she said, voice steady again. "But we keep it simple. No pressure." My heart beat harder anyway, so we just lie there, like two coworkers in a training video. She shot me a look. "Adam." "Sorry," I said. "I'm trying to breathe." Quote. She walked to the bedside table and pulled out an extra pillow. Then she placed it between us on the mattress like a wall. "This helps," she said. I almost laughed, but her face was serious, like she had done this before with fear instead of comfort. I moved toward the bed slowly. "Do you think he really hired someone to watch us inside your place?" Luna's jaw tightened. "Derek does not play fair. If he cannot prove we are fake in public, he will try to prove it in private. He wants me to slip." I sat on the edge of the bed, shoes still on, feeling like I did not belong in her world. "Then what do we do?" Her voice lowered. "We give him nothing." That night we kept the lights low. Luna changed in the bathroom. I changed by the closet, turning my back like it mattered, even though the situation was already strange. When we climbed into bed, the mattress dipped between us. I stared at the ceiling, too aware of her breathing, too aware of the heat of another body a few inches away. After a long silence, Luna spoke. "You can turn toward me," she said. "If we are being watched, distance looks wrong." I turned carefully. She was facing me too, hair loose now, makeup gone. Without the sharp suit and the polished armor, she looked tired. Younger in a way, human. "You look like you never sleep," I said quietly. "I sleep when I win," she replied, then paused. That was a joke. It startled me so much I smiled. Was it supposed to be funny? Her lips twitched. Maybe. That small moment loosened something in my chest. For the first time since signing the contract, I felt like I was not trapped in a stranger's life. I was sharing space with a real woman who had been alone for a long time. The next morning, Luna was back in her suit by 6, like nothing happened, like we had not just crossed into each other's private world. At work, the pressure grew fast. People stared more, whispered more. Derek showed up in the office twice that week, which felt like a threat all by itself. He always looked calm, always smiled, but his eyes stayed sharp. Watching. Measuring. Friday afternoon, Luna called me into her office again. "We're going to the family estate tomorrow," she said. My stomach dropped. "Family estate?" "It's outside the city," she said. "A weekend gathering. Board members will be there. My mother will be there. Derek will be there. We cannot skip it." I tried to keep my voice steady. "And let me guess, we share a room." "Yes," she said. I leaned back in the chair. "So this is how rich people torture each other." Luna's eyes flashed. "This is how my father wrote the rules. Marriage means unity. Unity means no separate rooms." I watched her hands tighten around a pen. The confidence was still there, but stress lived under it now, like a crack under glass. "Are you okay?" I asked. She looked up fast, like the question offended her. Then her gaze softened for a second. "No," she said quietly, "but we're going anyway." The estate was huge. A stone house tucked against the foothills with manicured lawns and tall windows that reflected the sky. It looked like a place built for power, not warmth. Steph moved quietly through the halls. Every corner felt watched, even before Derek showed his face. At dinner that night, Luna was perfect. Calm laugh, polite smile, the hand on my arm at the right time. I played my part too, repeating our fake story with a smoothness that scared me. Aspen, charity gala, fast romance, private wedding. Then Derek leaned back in his chair and stared right at me. "So Adam," he said, voice easy, "what do you love most about my sister?" Quote, "The table went quiet in that way that meant everyone wanted blood but did not want to admit it. Luna's hand tightened on my leg under the table, a warning. My mouth went dry, but I looked at her anyway. I saw the slightest fear behind her calm. So I told the truth, but I made it sound like part of the lie. "I love how she never quits," I said. "She walks into rooms full of people who doubt her, and she still stands tall. That kind of strength is rare." Derek's smile flickered like he did not expect that answer. "Strength?" he repeated. "Interesting choice." Luna's eyes met mine, and something quiet passed between us. Gratitude, surprise, maybe even something softer. After dinner, we escaped upstairs to our assigned room. The door closed behind us, and Luna finally let her shoulders drop like she had been holding the weight of the house on them. "He is digging," she said. I saw him talking to the family lawyer. I moved closer without thinking. Then, let him dig. He won't find anything if we don't give him anything. She laughed once, sharp and tired. "You sound confident." "I'm not," I admitted. "I'm just trying not to panic." She turned toward me, and for the first time since we met, I saw her eyes shine like she was holding back tears. "What if he wins?" she asked. "What if he takes everything?" I did not plan to touch her. I did not plan to cross another line, but the fear in her voice pulled me forward. I wrapped my arms around her. For a second she went stiff, like a statue. Then she softened against me, like she had been waiting to fall for years and finally let herself. Her hands gripped my shirt. Her breath shook. "I hate needing anyone," she whispered. "I know," I said, "but you don't have to do this alone." She lifted her head slowly. We were close enough that I could feel her breath. Her eyes flicked to my mouth, then back to my eyes like she was fighting herself. "This is not part of the plan," she said. "I know," I whispered. She kissed me anyway. It started soft, like a question she was afraid to ask. Then it deepened, and the room seemed to disappear. All the pretending, all the rules, all the fear. Her hands slid up my shoulders. Mine held her like she was something fragile and fierce at the same time. When we finally pulled back, her forehead rested against mine. "That was real," I said. Luna's voice was barely there. "Yes." That night, we did not stay on our sides of the bed. We did not talk about contracts. We did not talk about Derek. We held each other like two people who had been starving for safety and finally found it. In the morning, sunlight cut through the curtains. For a few seconds, I forgot where I was. Then I remembered everything at once. Luna's phone buzzed on the nightstand. She reached for it, still half asleep, then sat up fast, her face drained of color. She turned the screen toward me. A message from an unknown number. Attached were grainy photos of us in this room. In this bed, my arms around her, her mouth on mine. My stomach dropped so hard I felt sick. Luna's hands shook as she scrolled. There were more. Too many. He put a camera in here, she whispered. Then another message came in right under the photos. One line. If you want to keep the company, meet me alone tonight. Luna looked at me like the air had been punched out of her. And I realized Derek had not just been testing our marriage. He had been waiting for us to become real, so he could use it to destroy her. By noon, Derek Sterling had turned one kiss into a weapon. Luna stood by the window of our guest room, phone in her hand, staring at the mountains like they might give her an answer. I could see the panic in the tight way she held her shoulders, like she was trying to keep her fear from spilling out. He wants me alone tonight, she said again, like saying it twice might make it less real. I stepped closer. You are not going alone. You do not understand, she snapped. Then her voice softened right away. If he leaks these, the board will call it fraud. They will say I tricked them. They will hand him control. And what happens if you go alone? I asked. He still leaks them whenever he wants. You would be giving him proof you can be scared into obedience. Luna's jaw clenched. She hated being trapped. I could tell she was already thinking like a fighter, running through options, trying to find a clean escape in a dirty game. Then she looked at me, and for a second the boss mask was gone. I cannot lose this, she whispered. This company is my life. It is the only thing my father ever respected about me. I reached for her hands. They were cold. And what about you? I asked. What about your life outside of Sterling Marketing? What about the part of you that laughed for the first time in front of me? Her eyes flicked away, like that hurt too much to hold. I took a slow breath. We have evidence. The texts, the photos, the threats. He is blackmailing you. He planted a camera in a private room. That is not just cruel, Luna. That is illegal. She stared at me, and I could see the war inside her. Trust versus control. Pride versus survival. Finally, she nodded once. Fine, she said. We do this your way. Her way was always clean and sharp. My way was messy, but it came from the gut. So we mixed them. First, we forwarded the messages to her personal attorney, a woman named Grace Nolan, who answered on the second ring and went silent for 3 seconds after Luna explained. Then Grace's voice turned cold. Do not delete anything, she said. Screenshot every message. Turn off cloud syncing. Keep the phone on you. And do not meet him alone. Next, Luna called her mother. Eleanor Sterling did not waste time with shock. She listened, quiet and steady, then said, Your brother has always been desperate. Now he is reckless. Good. Reckless men make mistakes. Luna swallowed. You believe me. I believe what I see, her mother replied. And I see a man trying to take what he cannot earn. After that, we met with the estate security head, a broad-shouldered man named Marcus who looked like he had dealt with Sterling family drama for years. Luna showed him the texts and the photos. His expression hardened. I will sweep this room and every hallway, he said. And tonight, if he comes near you, I will be there. Luna looked at me after Marcus left. You planned this fast. I shrugged, trying to keep my voice light even though my chest felt tight. I grew up around men who thought they could push people around. The trick is you stop letting them. Her eyes softened again. Adam, she said quietly, you did not have to do any of this. I wanted to tell her the truth. That somewhere between pretending in public and whispering in the dark, she stopped being a contract and became my safe place too. So I said it. I want to. That evening the estate felt darker than before. Too quiet. Too polished, like the house was holding its breath. At 8, Luna dressed like she was heading into battle. Black dress, hair pinned back, no jewelry except a small necklace. She looked calm, but I could see the pulse in her throat. You stay close, she told me. I'm not leaving you, I said. We went downstairs to the library, the spot Derek chose for the meeting. It smelled like leather and old money. A fire crackled even though the room was warm. Derek stood by the mantel with a glass in his hand, like he owned the air. He smiled when he saw Luna, then his gaze snapped to me. I said alone, he said. Luna lifted her chin. You said meet. I met you. Say what you want to say. Derek's smile tightened. You are making this harder than it has to be. He held up his phone. I send these to the board, to the press, to every client in our pipeline. Your career is over. You sign over your voting shares to me, and I keep your secrets buried. My stomach turned, but I kept my face still. Luna's hand slipped into mine just for a second. A silent thank you. A silent anchor. You planted a camera in a private bedroom, Luna said. You threatened me. You threatened my husband. Do you hear yourself? Derek's eyes flashed. He is not your husband. He is a paid actor. That should have stung. Instead, it made something in me go steady. I signed a contract, I said. That part is true, but you know what else is true? You are terrified of losing to her, so you cheat. Derek stepped closer, voice low. You should not speak in this family's business. I took a step forward, too. Luna is your business because you want her life. I'm in it now. Deal with it. For a moment, Derek looked like he might swing at me. Then the library doors opened. Grace Nolan walked in with Eleanor Sterling beside her. Marcus followed behind them. Derek's face went pale so fast it was almost funny. Eleanor's voice was calm, but it hit like a hammer. Sit down, Derek. He sputtered. Mother, this is private. Grace held up a folder. Not anymore. We have screenshots of your threats. We have the timestamps. We have the estate staff statement that a camera was discovered in a guest room. We also have a security sweep report. And we have a police report being filed tonight. Quote, Derek's mouth opened, then shut. Luna's eyes filled with tears, but she did not let them fall. She stood taller. You wanted proof, she said. Here it is. You are not taking anything from me. Derek turned toward Eleanor. Desperate now. She lied. She used the trust clause to block me. Eleanor's gaze was steady. She fought for this company while you waited for it to be handed to you. You chose this path, Derek. Now you live with it. Marcus stepped forward. Sir, I need you to hand over your phone. Derek backed up. No. 2 uniformed officers entered behind Marcus. My chest tightened at the sight of them, but the relief came right after. Derek had walked into a trap and he knew it. When they took him away, he finally looked at Luna, and his voice cracked with rage. This is not over, he snapped. Luna did not flinch. Yes, she said. It is. After the library emptied, Luna stood still like her body did not know what to do with peace. Eleanor touched her cheek gently. You did well, her mother said. Luna nodded, swallowing hard. I could not have done it without him. Eleanor looked at me then, really looked at me, and her expression softened. Thank you, she said, for standing beside her when her own blood tried to break her. When everyone left, Luna and I walked outside onto the stone terrace. The night air was cold and clean. The mountains were dark against the sky. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Then Luna turned to me, and her voice trembled. I was so sure this would ruin me, she said. I was so sure letting you in would be a weakness. I lifted my hand to her face. It didn't ruin you, I said. It made you real. Her eyes shined. The contract, she whispered. It is still there. A year. An end date. My throat tightened. Do you want it to end? Luna shook her head. A small, fierce motion. No. I felt the words come up like they had been waiting behind my ribs for weeks. Neither do I. She let out a breath that sounded like she had been holding it her whole life. Then she stepped into me, and I held her. Not as a deal, not as a role, but as my woman. When we got back to Denver, the board meeting was brutal, but not for Luna. Grace presented the evidence. The board saw Derek's messages. They saw the illegal camera report. They saw the police case number. They did not remove Luna. They removed Derek. Afterward, in the quiet of the penthouse, Luna sat on the couch in a soft sweater. No makeup, hair loose. She looked at me like she was seeing me for the first time, without fear. Your debts are gone, she said. My assistant confirmed it. Everything paid. I nodded, but it did not feel like the victory I expected. It felt like a door closing on the old me. Luna reached into a drawer and pulled out the contract binder. She placed it on the coffee table between us. "I use this to control everything," she said, "and I am done living that way." She opened it, flipped to the last page, and tore it in half. Then she tore it again. My chest tightened. "Luna!" She looked up. "I am not asking you to stay because I owe you," she said. "I am asking you to stay because I want you, not for a year. For real." I swallowed, heart pounding. "I came here to survive." "And now," she said softly, "what do you want?" I thought about my mom in Texas, safe now. I thought about my dad, and how he always wanted me to build something honest. I thought about the way Luna held my hand in that library, trusting me when she could have pushed me away. "I want you," I said, "and I want a life that feels like home." Luna's eyes filled again, but this time she smiled through it. "Then we build it." I kissed her then, slow and sure, and for the first time there was no one watching, no script, no fear. Just the simple truth that started in the strangest way and became the most real thing I had ever known.